guys, Colleen Balderson here with the English Law Group, and I want to tell you guys about the number one thing that we see that is a mistake that people do in transferring property right before somebody dies. So a lot of times we will hear people or somebody will call up our office and they want to be added to their parents' deed. Maybe it's a couple of kids, maybe it's an only child, whatever. And they're doing this with the hopes that they will avoid probate, because everybody, the big bad wolf is probate. And what in turn happens is that they might be strapped with a lot of capital gains tax if they do this. So the way that it works, if you have a piece of property and you have owned it for a while or just at least 2 years and you've lived there, you can make a profit of $250,000 as a single person or $500,000 as a couple, if both people's names are on the deed. So if you buy a property for $100,000, something happens in the market, it's amazing, you don't do anything to it, but 5 years later you sell it for $350,000. That gain, irregardless of what the mortgage is, that gain of $250,000 is not taxed. If you make over that amount, or if it's investment property and it's not your primary residence, you have to pay capital gains tax on the gain. So if that's an investment property and you've held it for a while, then you would pay capital gains tax on the realized gain of $250,000. If you get added to a deed, you only get that amount that you have put into it at the beginning is called basis. That's the base amount that you're putting into the property. So when you gift somebody something during your lifetime, you can only gift them what you have. So if you transfer property to your child and you have a basis of $100,000, then when they sell it, if you've passed, and nobody, the primary resident, it wasn't their primary residence or anything like that, to them it's investment property because they didn't live there. That's not their primary residence. They would have to pay capital gains tax on that gain of $250,000. If you inherit it and it goes through a will or it passes through a trust, then you get what's called a stepped up basis. So if you inherit a piece of property, you get to your new basis is stepped up. It's going to be the amount of the fair market value of when the person passed. So if you wait and the person passes and then you get it through a will or through probate, then or a trust, revocable trust, or a properly drafted irrevocable trust, then your basis now is $350,000. So if you sell it a couple months after the person passes, it's still investment property to you, but there's really no gain because the market's not going to change in a couple months. There's going to be, all kinds of fees and stuff that you have to do. So anyway, the number one thing that we see is people trying to avoid probate, and in turn, they end up owing a lot of capital gains tax. So make sure before you do anything like that, you have properly talked to an attorney, that you know what the options are, and probate is not the big bad wolf. Sometimes it is actually the preferable way to go. So we hope that you learned something from this, and to see you at the closing table soon.